Celebrity nannies get paid a pretty penny, but is it worth it? These ex-nannies have leaked the insane demands from their famous bosses. Mariah Carey's former nanny, Simonette DaCosta, exposed all of her dirty laundry. She claimed that Mariah was extremely demanding and would often call her in the middle of the night to attend to her twins, Morocco and Monroe, with whom she shares with ex-husband Nick Cannon. In January of 2015, the singer's former nanny actually filed a lawsuit in New York District Court against the couple, claiming that the former couple neglected to compensate the nanny for overtime. Now, DaCosta sued for unpaid overtime wages, premium wages, liquidated damages, and attorney fees. Now, a representative for Mariah Carey actually told ABC News at the time that they don't comment on frivolous lawsuits. The lawsuit alleged that DaCosta cared for the twins from October 2013 till late January 2014. She was paid between about $3,000 and $3,600 twice a month. The suit claims she even traveled with Carey on international trips to take care of the children. During that time, DaCosta states that she worked more than 100 hours per week on a regular basis. She also claimed that she received no sleep or meal breaks and was on call basically like 24 hours a day. The suit also stated that Miss Carey terminated DaCosta after berating her for exhibiting too much affection towards her children. Mariah Carey would allegedly call with demands at all hours in the middle of the night and demand to be taken to her children or to be updated as to the status of her children. She also said Miss Carey would not tolerate any delay and would get really upset if even anything was delayed by like a single minute. Apparently, the ex-nanny settled the lawsuit against her former boss in June of 2015 for an undisclosed amount. The lawsuit also says that she's not the only worker that Carey and Cannon stiffed. The complaint reads, there are numerous similarly situated current and former employees of Miss Carey and Mr. Cannon who were subjected to the aforementioned policy. Carey has actually admitted to having a hard time keeping nannies, and in 2014, she actually spoke about her struggle with Power 105.1's The Breakfast Club. In the interview, she said, I'm very hands-on. I fire nannies like this, snapping her fingers, and I hate doing it, but I have to because if they try to make themselves more important in the baby's mind than me, it's a problem. Nick also confirmed that the singer fired their children's, minders every other week, basically. He explained it saying, it's something about a woman and her children, the minute the child chooses to go to the nanny before they go to the mom, I would have an issue with that myself. Everything's on a trial basis. It's just like, hey, we're gonna see how this works out, and we're always traveling, so the nanny might not get a plane ticket to the next city. That's really harsh, but you know what? I guess that's show business for you. Jon and Kate Gosselin are next. Remember TLC's show Jon and Kate +8? Well, if you don't, in a nutshell, Jon and Kate had 8 kids, which was interesting enough for them to land their own show on the network TLC. With 8 kids, one would definitely assume they had a nanny or two. One of their nannies in particular, Stephanie Santoro, came forward to say that she and Jon allegedly had an affair, calling, the father of 8 very romantic. This wasn't actually the first time it was alleged that Jon had an affair while with Kate, but this was the first time a nanny came out to claim it. Though Jon has denied being romantically involved with her, Santoro told In Touch Weekly that, their fling began when Jon asked her to come over one night during her 1-month employment as, the Gosselin nanny. And at the Gosselin home, Jon asked Santoro to give him a massage, then proceeded to reciprocate. While they were sitting there, Santoro said Jon told her, well, I guess we can kiss just once. She said he later told her, whatever you do, don't fall in love with me because it's going to be impossible for me not to fall in love with you. Excuse me while I cringe for a moment. Now, the pair made their way into the hot tub, and Santoro said she was afraid that, one of the kids was just gonna pop their heads out, but he told her to relax. Santoro said at one point he got out of the tub, went into the house to make sure the kids were all asleep. Now, that's when they actually moved to the apartment over, the garage, where Santoro said they continued whatever they were doing in the hot tub. And then he fell asleep afterward, reportedly. Now, Jon's reported romance affairs have been scrutinized by the tabloids since his split with Kate, while Kate spent much time spilling her heart out about the couple's problems. Jon was exploring the party scene. He was photographed on yachts, living it up as his marriage, basically fell apart. And in a People magazine article, Kate jokingly blamed an alien abduction for Jon's transformation from, a computer technician into basically a rock and roll jet setter. Jon told ABC News' Chris Como in an exclusive interview at the time that the headlines have been unfair. Magazine cover stories bashing him and praising Kate. He said, "We're both off base and basically besides the point." He also made a point to say, "I would say let's finish what we gotta finish and move on with our lives and stop feeding into the frenzy." Santoro, the nanny, she spilled so much more though. She actually exposed how much they make an episode, to which he said to her that they made about $75,000 an episode. That's a lot. Now she also spilled the tea on Jon's plans to slow everything down in order to fight Kate for more money during their divorce proceedings as well as actually fight for custody of the kids. Now, Santoro also said that in her opinion, all of this is about money and Jon's ultimate goal is to obtain the most amount of money possible, calling him money hungry. Now, the tea got hotter the more she spilled it though, because she also said Jon had admitted to taking illegal substances and recalled a time that herself and a friend went over to Jon's house and he was allegedly acting really weird. Santoro claimed that she never in her life been exposed to anyone who has been under any illegal influence, but said her friend has and knew exactly what Jon was, on. It should be noted that many people came to Jon's defense and said that Santoro was answering questions that Kate basically instructed her to answer and that she was simply looking for her, 15 minutes of fame. I watched her interview, of her dishing all this dirt, and honestly, she smiled while telling bad things about Jon. It was giving I want 15 minutes. It's also giving I got paid to say this, and it was also giving I'll never get in any position again for breaching confidentiality. But, go watch for yourselves, come to that conclusion on your own, don't let me influence you. Kate wasn't left out of the fire though once Jon and Kate became, just Kate plus A after their divorce. A nanny that worked for Kate specifically said Kate was a little too controlling when giving specific orders, and that she gave employees a manual on her pet peeves and, to ensure that they actually would not, do those things. And also, she wanted them to vacuum at specific times or place certain items on the floor. If the clock struck 9 p.m., the nanny was to literally stop in their tracks and stop whatever they were doing and just call it a day so that she didn't basically have to pay them for overtime. The nanny also admitted she had to eavesdrop on the kids' conversation with their father Jon. The children's provider actually decided to stop working for Kate when she witnessed Kate punishing her son in front of her other children in a manner that was really uncomfortable to watch. We have a double celebrity whammy, Katie Lowes and Connie Britton. Katie Lowes, who you may know from ABC's hit show Scandal, where she plays Quinn Perkins, actually worked as a nanny for Connie Britton's son Eob before scoring her big role. Connie, you actually may know her from the show Nashville or Friday Night Lights. Before Katie made it really big in Hollywood, she actually worked numerous odd jobs to pay the bills, and one being a nanny. And when speaking to Jimmy Kimmel in October 2013, Lowes revealed that she had worked as a nanny to one celebrity who had a very unique way of parenting. She didn't disclose who it was, but Lowes told Kimmel that one anonymous celebrity parent refused to put their children in diapers, saying if the baby would start to make a face of frustration, what you would have to do is quickly remove the onesie, rush to the toilet, and hold the baby over the toilet. As crazy as that might have sounded, Lowes was able to laugh, at the absurdity of the situation in hindsight. Although Lowes did keep the identity of that celeb a secret, fans did put two and two together when Connie Britton actually spoke to E! News and admitted that Lowes was the nanny to her son. Apparently Lowes was fairly good at her job, as the star later joked that she was upset when she got that little pilot, Now, despite all of this hee-hee and ha-ha on both of their ends, some fans thought it looked really bad on Lowes to expose something that specific to the public about another celebrity. Some thought she was low-key throwing shade, and one person even said they wouldn't have been happy if something like that came out about how they're raising their children on national TV. Fair. One person online at the time said, holding the baby over the toilet is actually a technique called elimination communication. It's a little uncommon, but not unusual. Not like some weird quirk she had. It's definitely a thing. With another person adding to that saying, yeah, Katie should have never exposed that publicly. It's so, particular, and many would easily find out that it was pertaining to Connie. I'd be mad. Well, it seems as though despite Connie being outed on her interesting parenting techniques, no love was lost, no fights were fought, and all was well in the end between them. Last up, we have David and Victoria Beckham. Now, the couple have been propped up as Hollywood's, golden couple for years, on the outside, they appear to be like the perfect family, but their former nanny, Abby Gibson, was actually fired for lifting up that veil of perfection. Gibson began working for the couple in May 2003, but resigned in March 2005 after a disagreement. Gibson made claims that both of the Beckhams would make over-the-top, insane demands that were nearly like impossible to meet, which left her feeling like she was never doing her job properly. But that was just the start of the problems, because in a 7-page 2005 report, Gibson revealed that the couple had ongoing, intense arguments. According to Gibson, the seemingly very happy couple would have arguments literally all the time. The arguments were nothing new for Gibson, but there was a particular morning when she claimed she heard David call Victoria a really bad few words, which I won't say, but I will just say, at the time, Victoria was 7 months pregnant with their son Cruz. Now, the next day, after David left for work, Victoria allegedly revealed to Gibson that she didn't know what to do with their marriage. He was on about splitting up, and she pleaded for him to just wait until their third baby was born. Gibson actually claimed Victoria was deeply insecure about being pregnant and constantly compared her looks to younger women. One night she told Gibson, allegedly, "I feel fat and I feel like crap." What is, there to stop him from going out and finding someone who has more in the way of looks? She said Victoria had tearfully confided in her while also saying, "I don't know if he loves me still." Gibson also claimed that Beckham had affairs with personal assistant Rebecca Luz, a beautician also named Danielle Heath, and at least one other woman. The famous soccer star had been dealing with cheating accusations as early as 2010, 12 years after the couple famously tied the knot. Now, even before that, in 2003, he was photographed leaving a club with a mystery woman in Spain. That was the same woman that Gibson claimed he cheated on Victoria with, their personal assistant Rebecca Luz. Now, Gibson said, "She told me she had pleaded with him to tell her the truth about Rebecca. He told me she asked him, just tell me, did it happen? And he replied, no, it didn't." Abby Gibson sold her story to the News of the World after the Beckhams lost a high court hearing to keep her quiet. Now, Miss Gibson's disclosures provided the basis for an article titled "Beckham's Behind Closed Doors," which was actually published in April of 2005. Now, Miss Gibson, who was actually paid like $300,000 for her story, said she believed the Beckhams had already discussed a separation and were not likely to be together in a year. In 2009, Gibson was ordered by a court to apologize for disclosing this private and very confidential information about them. She has since apologized for ever exposing these secrets and says that she vows to keep her mouth shut from now on. Well, duh, obviously you got paid, girl. Of course you're gonna keep quiet now. Anyways, what do you guys think about all of this? Let me know your thoughts. I'm your host, Ashley. It's been great catching up.